Hi, my name is Mai, and I've decided to share my IVF journey because I've been getting so many questions from friends and family. I thought this would be the best way to give more insight into my experience and what this journey has been like for me. So let's start from the very beginning. My husband and I got married in the fall of 2012, and we were overjoyed when we found out we were expecting that winter. Although it wasn't planned, we were excited to begin our journey into parenthood. However, at around 14-16 weeks, we received heartbreaking news during ultrasound. There was no heartbeat. We were in complete shock and couldn't accept it at first. I needed confirmation, so I scheduled a second ultrasound at a different clinic, and unfortunately, the results were the same. They scheduled me for a hospital visit within the next 2 days as my body hadn't miscarried on its own. I was given medication to help the process along. The nurses had told me it would feel like menstrual cramps, but once the medication took effect, it felt more like contractions. I eventually felt an intense urge to use the bathroom, and as I was about to go, I felt like something was going to come out. I told the nurses, and they advised me to lie back down. When I relaxed, I passed a baby without any pain. It took me a long time to even think about trying for another baby after that loss. Years passed, and despite our efforts, I wasn't getting pregnant. Watching friends and family around us start their own families was difficult, and we longed to have a child of our own. During that time, we decided to focus on the things we loved, such as traveling and embracing life, all the while hoping that we would eventually get pregnant. Fast forward to 2020, and 8 years have passed. Time was no longer on our side, and we realized it was now or never. We were getting older, and we decided it was time to seek treatment to help us grow our family. In 2020, we made the decision to pursue IUI. Even though the chances were slim, we still had hope. So we went through 6 cycles of IUI, each one ending in disappointment. We decided to take a break in 2022, and during that time, IVF was on our minds. We knew how expensive it was, so our amazing friends and family came together to help us fundraise for their IVF process. They organized an Embyro fundraiser that summer. Around that time, one of my longtime friends who had tried IUI at a different clinic got pregnant with twins. She had such a positive experience with her doctor, so I decided to reach out to the clinic she had used. After meeting with the doctor, I felt comfortable. He was kind, experienced, and took the time to explain everything to us. I knew that I wanted to move forward with him for my IVF treatment. That fall, we completed all the necessary tests, blood work, ultrasounds, everything to prepare for IVF. And in January 2023, we officially began. On January 27th, I began my injections. Honestly, I don't remember exactly which kind of injections they were because I didn't write it down, but I did them for a few weeks. Then on February 25th and 26th, I had 2 ultrasounds. On the evening of February 26th, I had to take 2 epidural shots, and on February 28th at 6:30 in the morning, I went in for the egg retrieval. The goal was to retrieve at least 12 eggs, and when it was all said and done, we had 11 eggs with 10 of them being viable. Then we had to wait a few days to find out how many embryos were growing well. By March 8th, we learned that 7 embryos were ready for genetic testing. We chose genetic testing because we didn't want to guess whether the embryos were viable or not. On March 12th, we found out how many of the embryos were healthy and viable for transfer. In the meantime, I continued with my medication. From May 12th to the 31st, I did Lupron injections in my stomach, along with estradiol pills and aspirin. And then on June 7th, I started progesterone injections in my buttocks, which were incredibly painful. In the beginning, I had my husband help me, but for the most part, I did the injections myself. Finally, June 12th was the day of my first embryo transfer. After the transfer, I rested the entire day. The hardest part was waiting 2 weeks to know if it worked. When June 21st came around, I found out that it didn't work. I didn't know how to react. I felt angry, devastated, and just lost. I decided to take a break after that. In August, I went on a mini girls trip to reset, and in September, I started my second IVF journey. This time around, I told myself I wasn't going to have high hopes. I wanted to stay positive, but also protect myself from the disappointment I felt the first time. This time, my treatment was simpler, just Lupron injections, estradiol, and aspirin. Then on September 25th, we did the second embryo transfer. Once again, I had to wait 2 weeks for the results. This time, I couldn't wait, so after the blood test, I decided to take a home pregnancy test. I was so nervous to look at the result, but thankfully, it was positive. I couldn't believe it. At 11 a.m., my doctor called me to confirm I was indeed pregnant. I went to the store and bought a cute newborn outfit and surprised my husband when he came home from work that day. It was the most incredible feeling. I was finally pregnant. So, what I've learned from this journey is that IVF is a roller coaster of ups and downs. It's not easy and it's not always quick, but it's worth it. If there's one thing I would share with anyone going through this, it's never to give up. Hold on to hope, even when it feels like things aren't going your way. You're stronger than you think, and you're not alone in this. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I hope it can give some hope to others who are struggling with infertility.